Hello, Redline Logbook here, and I decided to do a different video this time. I asked my community, and you guys told me that, well, one of you did, suggested I talk about some manga that I like, that I don't normally talk about on the show. I said, alright, let's do that then. These aren't ranked or anything like that, this is not like my top 5 or anything, but these are just 5 manga that I enjoy and I would like to talk to you about. The first one is actually a manga that ended in 2002, so it's quite recently ended. It's called Chihaya Furu. It's actually my favorite sports manga, and it revolves around a Japanese card game. The game is called Carta, and I would explain the rules to you, but I think the show is a lot better at that than I would be able to do so. So I'll just talk about the 3 main characters of the manga. The 3 main characters are Chihaya, Taichi, and Arda. So all 3 of them have completely different goals, but they all revolve around the sport that they're playing. Arda wishes to basically emulate his grandfather, who is a eternal master. The title master goes to the male card player who is the absolute pinnacle, the best, the one who wins basically the grand tournament of this sport, and the female is called the queen. A grandmaster is someone who wins 5 times. So his goal in the end is to basically do what his grandfather did to make it to master and to make him proud. That's his ultimate goal, to make his grandfather proud. So when they were children, he introduced the game to Chihaya. Chihaya immediately fell in love with it and basically become obsessed with it. She's the main character. There's 3 main characters, but she's the primary character. Her entire existence is basically a hurricane, and everything she does is in the pursuit of one goal and one goal only, and that is to become the queen. And the main reason is because this is the first time she's ever had a dream for herself. So when they're children, Chihaya has an older sister whose pursuit is to be an actress, and Chihaya spent much of that childhood supporting her sister to be an actress, and that was basically her dream, was to have her sister become successful. But she was introduced to Carta, and the idea of becoming queen became her first dream ever in her life, and this became her first and only passion. The funny thing is that because she's so obsessed with Carta at this point, the story is about her realizing that there are things out there that are just as important, or if not more important, than Carta. But you'll see the character arcs when you read the manga. And Taichi is in love with Chihaya. He basically started this game with these 2 because he fell in love with her, and, well... And the funny thing is that he knows that Arda is in love with Chihaya too, but this didn't stop him from becoming best friends with him. And basically these three are basically connected in a sense by destiny to basically play Carta together to see if they can achieve their goals. And so Taichi and Arda basically become rivals on day 1 of meeting each other in both Carta and in the pursuit of their love for Chihaya. This manga also has an anime with 3 seasons, the 3rd season ending off in one of the darkest points in the manga. And from what I can say, I would say there's enough for a 4th season to finish it off, if they ever make a 4th season. But the point is, this, without a doubt, my favorite sports manga. Now, to explain to you why this is my favorite sports manga, after I got done explaining all the characters, is the simple fact that in most sports manga, I can predict when the good guys are going to lose. Let's put Haikyuu, for example. Haikyuu, I love it, but I always knew when they were going to win and when they were going to lose. The simple fact was, there was the guy that was referred to as the Great King, and they played against him in 3 separate times. They lost to him the first 2 and then won the 3rd. Each time, I knew they were going to lose to him, and when they were going to win to him. And the reason for that is because it was very obvious that they weren't going to beat the Great King, this great obstacle in front of them, especially for one of the main characters, unless they were able to overcome themselves. And that was not going to happen the first or second game. It was going to happen in the big moment that everything needs to happen. In Chihaya Furu, because the way the system is set up, if Chihaya, who's the best player, is taking on someone who should be her rival and an amazing player, she could beat them, or she could lose to them, because the way the Carta game is set up, a team game where each individual person plays their own match, 5-5. And even then, they could still lose the 5-5, and it'd be surprising. I legit was not able to predict a single time when they were going to win or lose, when she was going to win or lose, and when Taichi was going to win or lose. It was very surprising the entire time, which is why it makes it my favorite sports manga, because it was so unpredictable. Oh, my favorite character? Taichi. Dude's awesome. Okay, so the second manga I enjoy is Mission Yazakura Family. So this manga is well known, but it hasn't been the biggest thing, because it's kind of like one of those shonens that makes enough money to last, but not enough where people are, all over it. And that's quite simply, it's a story about probably the best couple in all of shonen right now. Okay, so the main character's name is Toya, and Basically, how it starts out is him being attempted murder of the brother of the girl that he's best friends with, called Musume. So Musume's family is a family of spies with all these weird abilities. And her brother, older brother, has a sister complex and basically eliminates anyone who gets close to Musume. Yeah, the guy's a real freak. And he decides to eliminate Toya. Funny thing is that he also has a policy where he'll always and forever protect his family no matter what. So the only way Toya can survive is either A, separate from Musume forever, or B, engaged to her. And so, that's how the first chapter starts out, with Toya deciding that he's going to be engaged with Musume. And the truth be told, they're a fantastic couple. No, seriously, like, I'm used to in shown bad relationships, the way they do things, where one doesn't respect the other, and it's just always bad. But these two, no. They constantly respect each other, they understand each other's roles, they do their job, they cover each other's weaknesses while not stepping on each other's strengths. Like, they're an actual loving, engaged couple. It's actually really nice. But yeah, he's now an ordinary person involved with superhuman spy society that exists in the underground of Japan. And basically, he now has to survive as a spy because this is his life now. And Musubi, on the other hand, with the death of her mother, has become the 10th head. So even though she's a teenager, she's basically stuck having to be the leader of her family and just try to get this whole spy thing under control, which is difficult because her entire family's crazy. It's one of the rare breeds that's like to switch between a shonen battle manga and a slice of life comedy. Like, really nice. And obviously, more conspiracies and stuff involving the family get revealed and yada yada yada. The point is, it's just a really fun, enjoyable manga, and I really do wish more people would read it. Best character? Shion. Okay, so the third one I like to mention is actually a Korean manhwa. It's not actually a manga from Japan. It's called The Lazy Prince Becomes a Genius. So there's this noble kid. His entire life, he basically just stays in bed, sleeping, basically doing nothing. His parents are worried about him, but they don't really force him out or anything like that and such. But one day, while he's, lying in bed, sleeping, like he always does, he has a dream of a man who moves to a small town and then starts to train with a sword, doing the vertical slash over and over again. And just like Netero and Hunter x Hunter, this guy is obsessed with doing the same thing over and over again. So he does the same vertical slash all day long, every day. He does this for decades, until the eyes of old age. That's how the dream ends. The young man who's like in his 40s, maybe even younger, 40 years, 50 years, swinging a sword every day until he died of old age. When Pryor wakes up, he has the obsession to do the exact same thing, and so he starts training with a sword every single day. Everyone laughs at him at first thing of the day. He's a lazy prince, and he's gonna just quit after one. He doesn't, he keeps going, and his dedication and determination makes a certain man who's wandering by while staying at the Pryor residence, that's his last name, Pryor, Aaron Pryor, noticed Aaron doing the same thing and dedicated himself to the sword. And so he then suggests to his parents that Aaron should be put into the Swordsman Academy. Swordsman Academy actually doesn't last as long as I thought it did. It's actually a pretty short arc. But there he meets the people who are probably the most important to the story, besides Aaron himself. So the first person I'm going to mention is Aluda. Aluda is also a nobleman, because most people in this academy are noblemen, pretty much all except for one. So she is the second child of a basically prodigy sword-fighting family. Her brother lost in a humiliating defeat against someone, and basically it broke his pride. Everyone around him ridiculed, and he basically just lost everything by losing a single duel. Before, he was this huge hero, but no, it's over now. And her goal is basically to defeat the person who defeated her brother. And she actually works alongside Aaron while at the academy because she notices his hard work and actually appreciates it. Person up would be Lloyd. Lloyd, another nobleman, starts out as you would think the typical bully, arrogant noble, but the truth be told, he quickly gets humbled and understands that there is a vast difference between him and a prodigy and such. A lot of the prodigies that exist, and he doesn't become resentful or hateful because of that. Instead, he quickly acknowledges that he's just not the best, and he actually continues to want to grow and become not just a stronger fighter, but a better man. Like, he becomes absolutely, probably matures the fastest and in the most organic way than any other character. Honestly, he's my favorite character in the series. He's really someone you can really respect. And last but not least is Judith. Judith is the only commoner in the series, Well, in the academy, I mean the swordsman academy, and the reason for that is because she was just so tough fighting on the streets as an orphan that she just earned her way to being able to just pass into the swordsman academy, and she's probably the most dedicated to becoming the strongest. She has an absolute obsession with just beating people all the way. Just she has to be the strongest. She has to be the best swordsman. She has to be the one that just surpasses everybody. And she really goes through a lot as well, because simple fact is that she's not a prodigy. She's just someone who just trains to the point of insanity. So she has to just deal with a lot of prodigies who can do leap and bounds while she needs to just take the slow and steady pace. Best when the four of them are together, because there is a period when they do separate, because there's going to be a time skip. But when that period ends and they finally do start coming back together bit by bit, it really picks up again. Like these four together is what makes this story. The fourth manga I want to talk about is called Yankee JK, Kusahana-chan. Now, even though the manga is named after her, Kusahana actually isn't the main character, it's Satome. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not good with Japanese names. This is a harem anime, where Satome, a boy, is the only boy in pretty much all-girls school. And the reason why he's here is because he's inheriting a tailor shop, and he needs to basically work on his fashion, sewing and such. Like, he needs to learn how to do all that, and this is basically a career school where you either learn business, cooking, or the fashion world. Of course, he went with the fashion, got to inherit the family business. What separates this manga, harem manga, from every other harem manga isn't that the male is a typical airhead protagonist. That does happen. He's not completely like that, but he does have that issue. No, what separates it is the fact that the girls in this are, one, really likable, and two, not idiots. So I'm going to give you a spoiler, but it's a small one because this is really important for me to explain this. So there's this girl named Oi, or AI, once again, not good with Japanese names, who doesn't really like boys, and because something happened in middle school. Now, this doesn't mean that she has any issue against Sato. Personally, she actually ignores him. But her best friend, Nakomaya, believes that it'd be best if he was just gotten rid of altogether because he's a bother to Aoi. And so she decides to try to frame him by shoving all the girls' swimsuits into his, bag, basically to frame him. So he discovers the bag full of bathing suits at the exact same time. Kazahana and another girl called Taki-chan walks in on him. They immediately, without him even having to explain to them that he's being set up, they immediately know. And they trust him, and they're going to back him up. That's right, all of that normal bullshit that happens in harem animes and mangas where the guy gets all the blame and it's a huge misunderstanding and then eventually it's the culprit's friend. No. All of that is completely erased because the girls actually are able to think more than 2 seconds ahead and are able to understand the situation. And also, the whole situation with Aoi, the one who doesn't like boys, and Nekomaya, the one who framed him, that all gets solved literally the next chapter after that one. 2 chapters after that. Point is, an entire arc, which for a normal manga, harem manga, which would take 13, 14, maybe even 20 chapters, is basically solved in 2 to 3. Because everyone is thinking and being mature. And that's what separates this harem manga from so many others, because people are actually thinking, they're behaving like reasonable people, and they're just doing things that is mature. And even though when someone decides to do something morally wrong, like framing a person, they're able to work through it by talking it out. Honestly, I've been reading since chapter 1, and I gotta say, it is definitely something worth reading. And even though it is a harem manga, the outcome is obvious who he's gonna end up with, because it's literally the name of the manga. And the fifth and final manga I'd like to talk about is D. Great Man. This manga is hard to be a fan of because it doesn't go on hiatus. It has never actually been on hiatus, but it keeps switching mangas from weekly to monthly to bi-monthly, now quarterly. And even then, sometimes she misses a chapter, which means instead of waiting 3 months, you wait 6. But it is still worth it, because this is one of the best gothic mangas I have ever read. Because it is a mixture of Western Gothic and anime style of art, and it is gorgeous to look at. And as you read on, with new chapter after new chapter, the art gets even better. It is, oh my god, amazing. Not just that, but the story is also just the best. As you go along and you learn more about the Black Order, Innocent, the Noahs, everything, the more you learn, the more insane it gets. The more you learn about Alan, the more insane it gets. It's just a fantastic series everyone should love. Now, it'll start out sort of goofy in the beginning, but trust me, that will pass quickly, especially when you get into the backstory arcs of many of the characters, starting with Lena Lee, and then moving on from there. It definitely is going to get way more dark. And I know I'm talking very vague about D. Gray Man, and the reason for that is because if I spoil anything, I'll be spoiling a lot. I'm just gonna do the bare minimum, okay? 7,000 years ago, the Great Flood happened, where humanity was wiped out, except for a few survivors, and then of course humanity rebuilt after 7,000 years. In that time, a group of basically immortals who survived the Great Flood, what they'll do is they resurrect every few generations and commit evil across the world. Their leader is the Millennium Earl. The Millennium Earl has the ability to resurrect the dead as monsters who then go out and massacre people so they can evolve, so they can massacre more people. The Noah and the Earl's ultimate goal is to wipe out the entire existence of everything. Wipe out all of humanity. And the reason for this is because whatever happened 7,000 years ago traumatized them. It made them go completely mad. What they witnessed, the flood, the great destruction of the world, it caused them to lose everything, and so now they wish to wipe everything from existence themselves so they never have to deal with it again. Erase their own existence along with everything else. Now, what was the Great Flood? What happened? How did it happen? Well, we don't actually know the whole story, but in one of the chapters, there's a single panel of what happened 7,000 years ago. One panel. And when I saw this panel, I'm not going to show it to you, because if I do, it will spoil a lot. But this panel fucking blew my mind. I went ape shit when I first read this. It was insane. Trust me, you gotta read D. Gray Man. It is fantastic. Okay, these are just a few of the manga I like to read. If you enjoyed this video, I do plan on making more. So please subscribe, give a thumbs up so you enjoy more of this. Thank you and have a great day.